waited for 3.5 hours. Not as long as some people, but long enough. But it was well worth the effort, well worth it.
Born in 1957, been riding the 159 pretty much continuously since the day I was born.
A Routemaster is basically the architecture of so many people's 9 to 5 for so many years that of course you're going to hear to say goodbye, because with this goes a piece of London's history.
There were lots and lots of people around. People came from far and wide. People came from other countries to come over specifically for it. You've got to put the Routemaster in the heritage of London, like the red phone boxes, red pillar boxes, black taxi cabs, and that's what people come here for.
The last day of any route is obviously a very, very bittersweet thing, you know. You feel proud of it and it's exciting. There's a kind of carnivalesque atmosphere, but nonetheless, you know that's the end. It was extraordinary to drive through the centre of London, through the West End, with people cheering, with flashbulbs popping so much you could hardly see. And then to see the last one come in the garage. I was on the platform for the last bus into the garage, and the local population and the enthusiasts, a huge crowd gathered, were all cheering. There were tears as well. And it's a day that will always stick in my memory.
We've been a little bit surprised by how much Londoners and tourists sort of like the Routemaster, and because of that reaction we looked at ways in which we could maintain a small number of Routemasters on the streets of London, so that tourists, Londoners on occasions can still sample this unique vehicle.
By way of a compromise, and as a way of ensuring that London's famous bus lived on, 2 special heritage routes were set up, parallel to the central London sections of routes 9 and 15. These heritage 9 and 15s were launched at Trafalgar Square just prior to the end of normal Routemaster services.
It's a very high profile route to run. We're only one of 2 operators running Routemasters, and it's just not Routemasters, it's conductor. And if you take these off, it's the end of conductor operation and the end of Routemasters as we know them in day-to-day service. So now everyone can travel on a Routemaster, whether you're an enthusiast or member of the public or a tourist.
It doesn't take from you to see the thrill and the excitement that emanates from them in taking the bus. Especially with your kids, they all want to go upstairs. These modern buses do have upper deck as well, but they're rather the Routemasters.
Every day people are taking photographs of the Routemasters. When we took the conductors on this time, although some of them, or most of them had been trained with us before, we actually put them through a 2-week training course, and they actually had to walk over the whole route with a tour guide that we paid for to come in to show them all the nooks and crannies. And from Tower Hill to the first to Cannon Street took an hour and a half because there were so many things to look at.
It's been my dream since I was little to actually drive them. I went out and paid out for my PCV privately, so I've got a coach licence, But instead of driving coaches and stuff, I've chose to drive these because these are my life really.
I think the decision to run the heritage routes is a pragmatic way of keeping some Routemasters in regular service so that Londoners and tourists can use them, but also allow us to bring the benefits of accessible buses to all people that want to use our bus network.
When you come into the Aldwych in the evening and the people are going to Charing Cross Station, they leave the normal 15 in front with doors on, walk round to the Routemaster so they can get off in just before the stop.
The two heritage routes have been tended in the same way as we procured the main London bus network and are being operated by the established London bus operators. They will be financially supported in the same way as the rest of the London bus network, but we're hoping that enough tourists will want to sample these buses that makes a significant contribution to their ongoing running costs.
What was very nice is that everyone, from the managing director of Stagecoach, the engineering director, the engineers at the garage, the engineering managers, have all put something together to make sure that the buses are up and running. Because don't forget, they are very old, they do need a bit of extra TLC, it's very difficult to get the parts, but you've seen the result and the result is very good.
We've planned these heritage routes to continue for the foreseeable future. We've planned them that we can sustain their operation, and with a pool of spare vehicles, we're confident we can keep these heritage routes running for many years to come.
Whilst the heritage routes have proved popular, their long-term future is constantly under review, and without regular year-round support, their future is not guaranteed.
The Routemaster is, perhaps along with the telephone box, the black cab, it's an icon of London. The fact it doesn't exist anymore or in a measurable way on London streets doesn't take away its enormous contribution it's made to the life of London over the last 45 years.
I feel very sorry about the loss of the Routemaster, but I understand that's something about my age. And for youngsters, who've hardly known them, I don't think there'll be any particular sense of loss. And of course, for some people, the new buses are much more convenient and comfortable. So I suspect that in the future, the kind of sentimentality that's being experienced on days like the last days will dissipate. And when people see Routemasters on the streets now, they'll wonder, how did these things ever operate on the streets of London? But I'll never feel like that. This is my London behind me, and I'm really sorry to see it go.
The Routemaster is clearly an icon across the world as the traditional London bus, but I think so is the more modern red double-deck London bus. There are currently 4,500 of those in service in London, compared with a few Routemasters, and I think that's as much a sight of London as the Routemaster.
I would imagine that most of my friends and colleagues don't understand why I do this. They think I'm either mad or sad, or both, and I probably am. But nonetheless, when you love these things, you don't just want to see them go by, you want to drive them. And every day I drove these, it was an absolute thrill. And I think a real enthusiast would understand that.